Hi everyone! So I basically just wanted to make this video as a normal person, specifically a normal mom who's never actually been a cheerleader before, not even in high school, never before in my life. I've never had or taken that opportunity, but I did watch the Netflix show Cheer recently, and it inspired me to go and look up some cheerleading stretches. And I don't know how you found this video, but maybe you have tried to do some of those cheerleading stretches too, and you see like how crazy strong and flexible the cheerleaders are, and you might be intimidated by it, which you don't need to be. Some of them have even said in their video that you have to build up to that level of flexibility and strength, and pretty much anyone can do it. I know we all have our own personal setbacks. For me, even though I've never done cheerleading, I have 7 years of martial arts experience, so that put me at a little bit of an advantage with some of these stretches. And I also teach fitness classes, so I'm going to share with you my knowledge and what the stretches might look like for a person who hasn't necessarily been a cheerleader before. But I got these stretches from Gabby Fuller on YouTube. I'll try to link her video in the description below. And I just really love that she was willing to share this information. So she starts, first of all, you should warm up first. I personally did like a 3.5 minute cardio series from plank with some mountain climbers and stuff. If you have like a preferred method of cardio or something you want to do, just make sure your body's warm and you're ready to go before any stretching, especially intense stretching like what we're about to do. So the first one she did is she brought her legs all the way wide into a straddle. And then I really like that she actually took the time to press inside here. So if you can scoot forward anymore, go ahead and do that. And then you're just going to kind of press, making sure that your knees stay upright. Sometimes I like to explain, like especially with kids martial arts and stuff like that, you can pretend there's like little arrows on your kneecaps and you want to keep them pointed up to the ceiling while you do these types of stretches, stretching the inner thighs. So you can hold this from 12 to 20 seconds most of the time. If it's a little bit later in the day, you might want to hold it longer because it'll help you relax more. Might even help you fall asleep afterwards. It's a really great bonus. Okay, and the next one she explained, you can either do a bow and arrow stretch, which is to come over, or you can kind of turn in towards your leg. And they're both going to stretch your back in different ways. So let's go ahead and hold this for about 12 seconds. And we're just going to come up and we're going to go the other way. Try to keep those knees pointed up. And then we're going to come up and we're going to bring both feet together. And the first one is to have your feet as close to your body as possible. And then you are going to start to press down on your knees. Be careful while doing this. Listen to any signals from your knees or any other part of your leg that might tell you to back off a little bit, especially if you're getting a little bit older like I am. So after you press, you can start to come forward a little bit as well. This is a really great one for those inner thighs. And then we're going to come up and we're going to bring the feet out just a little bit further. And you might need to press lighter on your knees this time. I personally have to. And we're just going to do that same thing again. Good, and we're going to bring that back up. And one final time, bringing the feet out further, being extra kind to your body, extra kind to the knees. You're probably feeling that stretch on your outer hip now, rather than just the inner thigh like you did before. All right, we're going to go ahead and come up. The next one was a forward folds. Most of us have done this one before. One thing to keep in mind is you do want to try to keep your back straight for this, even if that means that you can't come down as far. There's a lot of different ways to do it here. Like you can keep your hands on the floor, you can grab onto your leg, your ankle, your foot, any of those things. And I find that it's usually my back is more stiff, and that is what will prevent me from being able to come forward more. All right, so next we are going to have our fingers pointing towards our body. And be careful with this one. Listen to what your wrists are telling you, listen to what your shoulders are telling you, all of that. And then we're going to start to bend. And kind of the further back you have your hands, the deeper into the stretch you'll be able to go. But of course, it's also going to depend on your flexibility too. And you're going to feel this mostly in the front of your shoulders. And she was explaining this is a really good one for what they call the scorpion in cheerleading. And then the next one, when I watched Gabby Fuller do this, it was crazy. Like, I cannot do it anywhere near how she used to do it. I have problems with my elbow if I try. So I'm basically just pointing my fingertips the other way, away from my body. And if this is as far as you can go, that's fine. If you want to try to bring your fingers a little bit further out, maybe a little bit closer together, you can try that as well. But I actually do feel this. It probably doesn't look like I'm doing much, but I do feel this. So that's where I'm going to be. Great. So we're going to go ahead and come out of that. And then we're going to come all the way onto our backs. I like to really take this opportunity to get some ab work and spinal alignment in. So curl your spine, and we're going to get that low sacral spine and then the lumbar spine down on the mat, nice and super slow. And then we're going to bring the feet in a little bit closer, about hip distance, and the fingertips are going to be pointed towards your shoulder, and you're going to press into the mat from here. So this is going to stretch your triceps and your upper body. If you feel like you need to stay here for whatever reason, maybe you have issues with your back or any other part of your spinal column and you want to stay here, that is perfectly fine. You still get a tricep stretch here. You can still kind of press into the ground. What Gabby does, obviously, is not going to be like what I'm able to do. So I can come up just a little bit. And I'm not putting weight on my head. I am pressing into my hands, but that's about as far up as I can come. And then I just come out of it when I feel like it's time for me to do that. I can't hold that one that long, and that's okay. That's just where I'm at. But it was a good stretch for me, and it felt good. So that's what you need to focus on. And now we're going to go ahead and come up to this kind of yoga variation. And I like changing up the way I do things. When I do yoga, this isn't how I normally do this stretch. But basically, you're just stretching the front of your body again. And try to focus on creating length in your back. You don't want to feel like you're really compressing anything, but you're creating length here. And let's say by some chance this one's too much for you. You can come all the way down. And you don't even have to keep your hands here. I like to do the Sphinx a lot of times. It's a similar stretch. And you're just going to lift your chest up. So if you are really, really stiff in your torso, that is a good alternative. Oh yeah, that's good. All right. So next we're going to go ahead and come up into, I believe she started doing the strength conditioning next. So this is a great like Pilates type of move. So again, we're going to tuck the chin in, curl the spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae. Bring the legs all the way nice and long. And we are going to do 10 leg lifts. Pointed toes, please. Squeeze the muscles into the bone here. Give me 1, 2, 3, 4. So you notice this works the leg and the abdominals. And then we're going to come onto our side. And I really love that she just did like 10 of each of these to make it really quick, really fast to go through. If by some chance you are not comfortable here, there's other ways to lay down here. You can use your arm like it's a pillow. You can prop up your head here. It's all essentially the same thing. I do like this position though because you get a stretch in your side while you're doing it. So if you're able to do it here, that is my first recommendation. So again, we're going to point the toes and we're going to lift all the way up. great. We're gonna come on to the other side now. Same thing here, ideally in the exact same position. And don't forget to engage your core. That'll help you balance here. Here we go. Nice, good job. Next, we're gonna come on to hands and knees. And you wanna get your knees right underneath your hips, your wrists far underneath your shoulders, and your abdominals are lightly engaged so that your spine is neutral. We're gonna bring the right leg out, toes pointed, and we're gonna press evenly into both hands, and we're just gonna kick the leg up 5 times. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, great. Now we are gonna add a bend to that sort of kicking motion. Here we go, pressing evenly into both hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Woo! All right. Plant that knee back down, extend the left leg, toes pointed, hands pressing. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's add that bend. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, way to go. So I think that's all the conditioning that she did from down here on the ground. And then next she did this one. She actually used like a couch. So if you have something to prop your leg up on, and preferably you have something that is hip height, so your leg will be straight out in front of you. I should have brought a chair in here, but I didn't. So right now I don't really have a good way to demo this one, but you're gonna point your toes, and then you're gonna squeeze everything in your body. You can even make like your little cheerleading stance here, and just lift that leg 10 times. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's a lot harder than it looks. And then next, we're gonna turn so that our toes are pointing, for me, the wall next to me. My toes are gonna be pointing to this wall. So I'm here, but then my toes here, they're still pointed up. My kneecap arrow is still pointed up as well. I'm gonna make my nice little cheerleading stance. I'm gonna squeeze everything as much as I can. I'm gonna lift. 2, 3, woo! That is really hard. 4, 5, 6. Ah! So you might not get it up that high, but just try your best. We're gonna do 4 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then next, you're gonna turn all the rest of the way around. And you're gonna lift your leg straight back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Now we're gonna do the same thing on the other leg. The good news about this is that it goes super, super fast. So remember, point your toes, squeeze the legs, squeeze the abs, especially those low abs. Give me 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're gonna turn. The great thing about this is it will allow you to lift your leg higher. It's not just about flexibility, it's also about strength. Now, my toes on this side are really tempted to collapse in, but I'm still trying my best to keep that kneecap pointed up. All right, let's do 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, you better be doing this with me, 2, and 1. All right, this goes so fast, there's no reason not to do it, right? Okay, now 10 here. I feel like I need to readjust just a tiny bit. Okay, there we go. 10, 9, woo! 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Okay, so you're probably like rolling your eyes at me like, I doubt that's that hard if you're not actually doing it. But if you did it, you know what I mean. So next we're going to go ahead and come into some of the stances she talked about. Hopefully I remember this right. So I think the arabesque was to have the same side arm and the same side leg out just like that. So we're going to try to hold that for 20 seconds. And now we're going to go ahead and come into this one that I don't remember the name of. So what she did is she grabbed her foot and she put her foot all the way up above her head. I want you to focus on keeping yourself, especially your torso, upright. Keep the muscles here engaged too, so no collapsing, no slouching, no cauldron brewing, witch action here. Nice and tall and strong and proud, even if you are a witch. And we are going to stand here. First goal is to grab kind of the inside of that knee while still standing tall. If you can do that, maybe grab a little bit lower. And then the next thing to work up to, which I can do after like a full workout when I'm even more warmed up, I can grab my foot from here. Now, I still can't extend it most of the time, but I have at least built up to being able to grab the foot. But we're just going to do as much as we can. All right, now we're going to come into the scorpion. So this one stretches the shoulders as well as the leg. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to grab the hand, use the hand to grab the inside of the foot, and we're right here. And I like to hold this one for a little bit before I extend it. And you can definitely hold onto a wall if you need to as well. And then the next one is to kind of start to straighten that leg. And she was saying that in cheerleading, they have their goal to kind of get that leg as straight as they can. I don't know how long it's going to take me to get there, but I am working on it. All right, now we're going to start that same sequence on the other side, starting with our arabesque. Great. Now we're going to come into this one, making sure we're standing up nice and tall. First going for that knee, maybe going for that ankle, or the foot even. And she did explain also, you want your hands to be able to be in front of you, so your legs kind of out to the side right now. Just as much as you can. And now our last one, before we come into this really nice, relaxing stretching routine that we have. We're going to grab this and hold it for a little bit. So I'm not sure how exactly to make this pretty like a cheerleader would, but that's something that can be worked on later if you want to expand upon this. And then I'm going to try to extend. That's a good stretch for the shoulder. All right, now we get to do what's really great for our hips. And if you know about the human body, then you know that what's good for the hips is also good for the low back. And what's good for the low back is good for the upper back. What's good for the upper back is good for the neck. So I really love working on hip stretches. So the first one she did here is basically just a crescent lunge. So you want to make sure both your hips are facing forward. So if you imagine little arrows on your hip bones now, and then you'll start to feel that stretch in the front of the back thigh back here. You can put your hands wherever you want. Now we're going to sit back, and I want you to still try to keep your hips kind of square. You can point the toes here, and you'll feel the back of the front leg stretching now. Now we're going to ease on up We're going to come into a pyramid stretch. So both toes are pointed forward. And most of the time you'll see that people just straighten their legs and they kind of hold it here. What Gabby did to intensify the stretch is she actually started walking her hands in a little bit more. And she said, walk them as close to your body as you can. All right, now we're going to bring it back down, and we're actually going to tuck the back toes underneath. You don't always see this when you see people practice the splits, but that's what we're going to do, and I really liked it because it improves the hip stretch. And then we're going to start to slide this foot out. So if you have to stop, like all the way up here, maybe you're holding onto a wall, maybe you're holding onto some furniture, you could even potentially do this with your knee up on the couch instead of on the floor. Just stop wherever you feel you need to stop. But if you want to slide out more, go ahead and slide out more. Just try to keep your hips both facing forward. So sometimes I like to keep my toes upright here. Sometimes I point them. I just kind of go back and forth depending on how I'm feeling. And then we're going to back off a little bit. We're going to bend that leg, bend that front leg. Now you'll really start to feel those hips sinking down. All right, now we're going to do the splits one more time, and we're going to point the back toes as well. All right, for the next one, if you already have your butt on the ground, then you're going to be able to do it the same way Gabby did. For me, I have to transition. So I bend my back leg, and I move it over here, and then I sit my butt down, and then I can start to fold forward onto this leg. Awesome job. Go ahead and ease on up out of that. And then we're going to come into our bow and arrow stretch. You can stay right there. I'm going to move so you can see better. So again, I'm right here. And then I'm going to bring one arm under and then nice and graceful extend through the side of the body. And that's where I'm going to feel that stretch. And then we're going to bring it back up. And we're going to start on the other side, same way. So I'm going to put the left foot in front this time. I'm coming into my crescent lunge. And you can kind of like open up the chest here to really get that airflow in. Feeling the stretch in the front of this back leg, especially in that hip area. And then we're going to sit ourselves back, trying to keep those hips square. So no turning, really. Just keeping them facing forward. I love these stretches. They're so beneficial. What you're doing is good for your body. It's going to help you feel younger. It might even make you look younger. All right, now we're going to start to bring it up, straightening the legs. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you cannot touch the floor here, do not fear. There's other ways to do this one. I probably should have started with that, but I didn't think to. The first one you might know of is to have your hands on yoga blocks, so your hands don't actually have to be touching the floor. I'm going to go ahead and intensify the stretch for now. I'll show you an option in just a moment, though. Sometimes when you've been working out for a while, you forget that you started out not being able to do some of this stuff too. So a lot of instructors even, they'll forget to show options, and it's probably not because they're trying to make you feel less than because you're not less than. It might just be that they forgot to show the option. All right, so the option here, legs straight, hips back, chest forward, and just come down as far as feels good for you. So even if you're up here, even if maybe your feet are a little bit closer together, that's fine. As long as you feel the stretch, you are doing it right. And now we're gonna come down for that splits variation with the toes tucked underneath first. And as you can tell, I'm more flexible on this side than the other. And we're gonna bend that front leg just a bit. And then point the back toes, slide down one more time. And I'm going to bend my leg behind and fold forward. And bring it up. And then we're going to do our bow and arrow, extending through the side of the body. Opening that side up. And then bring it all the way back up. And you might notice that you feel like super awesome and relaxed, and your hips feel super healthy after having done that, which is great. There is one thing I want to include, and I've had kind of a bad habit of doing this myself. I think that when Gabby did this, she did is it the middle splits or the center splits? The other variation of the splits before she started doing like all the really relaxing variations here. And I would recommend that you do this one that I'm about to show. You actually do it immediately after all of your standing stretches, like the scorpion and stuff that we did, because the stretches we finished with are more relaxing, and you're probably just going to want to be able to chill out after that. But don't forget to do this one as well. So you want your knees and toes pointed up, and you're just going to come down as low as you can. And it's really good to do this one as well. It's really good for promoting the even flexibility in your body. And again, if you need to stay higher up, that's fine. In martial arts, we like to come sit down and then do a self-massage here afterwards, shaking the knees. I know it looks odd, but it is helpful, it is beneficial. And then we would do a series of other stretches here in martial arts, slightly different from what they do in cheerleading. But thank you so much for joining me. I'm so proud of you for starting on this journey of stretching routines. I've been doing these every day, and I love them. They feel great, so I encourage you to do the same. And let me know if you have any questions, and take care of yourself, all right? Bye.